Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lookout. Tonight's September 11th, and we're just doing a quick video. We're not doing a live stream tonight just because too much drama with the computer. Got some help on that, and we're going to get back to live streaming. But for now, a little less stressful just to record a video and be able to edit it if something doesn't work out. So can jump right in. We're just going to do a quick update on some happenings on the Mosquito Fire, Mountain Fire, and then jump up to Cedar Creek Fire real quick. So here we go. All right, here we're looking over Foresthill. We haven't got any new infrared mapping overnight, or since last night. During the day today, we didn't get any new infrared, but from reports from folks on the ground, they've held this flank of the fire. Here's Foresthill on the top. We're looking kind of south over the American River, and just kind of look up the canyon here. Foresthill, they fired this last night, finished firing it. It's held all day. They had fired down this ridge over here, which is Buckeye Peak, and had carried fire down about here when it got mapped last night. Didn't fire all the way down to the bottom of the canyon here, and so through today, this was there was a lot of action over here today where the fire's backing kind of out onto this knoll here and then down into here and pushing this way. And so, as we've talked about before, you don't want your firing to get ahead of you and be able to run up at an area that hasn't yet been fired. So they had helicopters working in here to cool this off, but the idea is that this fire is going to kind of back down. Unclear how they're going to tie it down to the river here, but I wanted to show some kind of cool time-lapse imagery from the webcams of Foresthill. So this is 6 hours of time-lapse on the Foresthill cam, and you can see here's the fire that's been lit on the top of the ridge that's backing now kind of against the up canyon wind all day. Slowly backing its way down the mountain. So this is what we call backing fire, is just a fire that can't run uphill on itself. And generally, get more moderate fire effects. Fire like this, if you had access, you could get in and, backing fire is a lot easier to put out than a head fire. But there's no real access down in here. So you can see it's flanking its way down the canyon. And the idea is that they need to keep ahead of it with their firing to keep it from just getting past them. So that's kind of the status on Foresthill. So in general, they're real happy with everything kind of from Foresthill up to the northeast. And this piece here on the Buckeye side is still active and kind of demanding attention. And it'll be curious to see if they where they try to bring it down. I'm not informed on this side exactly what how they're going to wrap this up. But for now, that's what we had all day. It was backing down into here, and the idea is that this is going to be tied here, off here, and they're going to have to secure. This is going to back down the river, and they're just going to have to keep that secured. One thing we've talked about quite a bit here is just that the thing about being on kind of the windward side of the fire means that if there's anywhere on the fire that's going to have access for dozers or for helicopters to help, and helicopters are really important for cooling off the toe of this when it gets down, or cooling off, catching spots quickly if it does jump. It is good that you're kind of on the upwind side of the fire, and that the up canyon winds are going to be pushing smoke away from the edge here. So helicopters are really important in this firefight, and being able to fly them in a smoke-free area is really important. So coming around the north side of the fire, this is all still holding through the day, it sounds like. And we don't have any new intel out here. I also didn't really get any new intel around this other edge of the fire today. So the thing to talk about here, just on our outlook, talking to some folks that are paying close attention to what's going on here. Look at this. Each one of these blue lines is one of our mapping flights, and sometimes we get 2 a day, sometimes we get 3. But you can just see the story here is just that it's one of steady growth. Kind of like growth rings on a tree for this fire. Just in that it's got continuous fuel, it's got fairly even conditions, not strong winds, And so the fire is really driven by the availability of fuel. And the fuels are really dry right now. And so we don't have any forecasts right now for big wind events, but we do have lots of different places where the fire can be aligned with the canyons and exposed to the winds, no matter what direction they come from. So I expect we're going to continue to see substantial growth on this east end of the fire. They've been talking about a plan to build a box in here to keep the fire from, burning out. So you see like the American fire here, and the box that got defined for that was this Deadwood Ridge. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that used again, just because the reason it was picked in the first place was there's no roads across this drainage anywhere. And you can't, push a dozer down one ridge and up the other here. It's really incredibly difficult country. So I wouldn't be surprised. I know no one wants to burn all this out again because it commits you to a much larger box. But there's kind of the terrain isn't presenting a lot of other opportunities in here. So as much as the team wants to keep the fire as small as they can on the east side, where they are able to make that happen remains to be seen. And in the time it's going to take them to build indirect line, fire it, etc., this fire is going to continue to chunk, and we're kind of on the fire's timeline on the east side of the fire, unless we get some precipitation. But the availability of fuels, the lack of fire history in a lot of this area, means that the fire is going to continue to chew its way to the east. The thing I will say is, just we mentioned in our earlier video today, that the fire's made, 8 or 9 miles spread in 6 days. So continued steady growth doesn't mean that the fire's not going to be in Lake Tahoe tomorrow. We still have 35 miles from this fire to, say, to Truckee, or 30 miles to Tahoe. So we're going to see continued steady growth on this, with the potential for large growth in areas that end up being aligned with the wind. So I think that's enough about this fire for today. Like I said, we don't have any great intel in here, but the team has been showing a lot of black on the map building out through here, and this has just been a huge priority. So hopefully we'll have a new flight for you in the morning. Gonna spin around, run up to the mountain fire. Looking up the Great Central Valley, California. So here's where the mountain fire was this morning at last night at 11 p.m. So we're going to pull up another perimeter here that's updated. All right, so here's a new perimeter that was captured this afternoon, and it looks like this was captured at about 1 p.m. today, September 11th. So you can see the fire spread so the area of this new growth on the fire is about 1,800 acres. There was a lot of air tanker action on this fire today, where they're treating ridges a ways out on this one. And so there was a lot of aircraft used today, and they painted this ridge heavily. And also looks like they painted out in here pretty heavily with the air tankers today. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Also on this, we should also have another perimeter tomorrow morning. It looked pretty active on the webcams this evening, and we'll jump over here to webcam from Wairika and do a time lapse on this one. So here's time lapse starting at about 2 p.m. This fire was under a lot of smoke, just like other fires in Northern California, and so that does moderate some of the activity. But you can see there's pretty strong amount of movement aloft in the clouds, and this is just a windy part of the state. And so it definitely put up a column. The mapping we have is from before all this. The column's not incredibly wide, but we did have sustained burning on portions of this flank of this fire pretty much all afternoon, and going right up to sunset. So we don't have any new data for the Cedar Creek fire in Oregon, so we'll have some new data for that in our morning report. So that's wrapping things up for us tonight. We'll be back in the morning. And if you're evacuated, hope you're finding some comfort and that you're appreciating that there's more black on the map in the areas where you're that are at risk of the fire. Take care, and we'll see you soon.